PMO, or Preventive Maintenance Optimisation, is best done on existing plant and equipment. Your early steps will be involved in interviewing tradespeople involved in maintaining the plant, interviewing operators to find out what sorts of problems they have and how the equipment fails to perform its real function. And you'll review the original equipment manufacturer's documentation to see what they said about how the equipment should be operated and maintained. So initially, PMO is really about gathering all the possible data that you can gather. You'll find it's easy to gather a great deal of information. One of the challenges is where to store the information. Excel spreadsheets and other types of spreadsheets are an excellent way of gathering and importing data. Data gathered in Excel can be transformed into a .csv file and then imported into the RCA2Go software. The import function that transfers data from Excel into RCA2Go software assumes that the data is configured in Excel in a certain way. The top row in Excel is ignored by the transfer, so you can put any words in the top row that you like that might prompt your memory when you're gathering data. You'll see in the example on the screen that I've put the words function, functional failure, failure mode and countermeasure at the top of the first column. You'll see that I've put the word detail at the top of the second column, the word evidence in the top of the third column, and the word source in the top of the fourth column. We can put data in columns 5, 6 and greater. However, the transfer function from Excel to RCA2Go ignores columns greater than 4. This is useful because we can put comments and notes to ourselves in the columns 5, 6 and greater, and they'll be ignored in the transfer. You'll see from the screen that I've been adding data that I might have found by visiting the operators or the owner, or by inspection of the vendor's manual, or by talking to the people that maintain the equipment. I expect that you've got the idea of how the data is entered into Excel now, so I'll just skip forward to enter a few more records. Now that we've entered data, we'll want to convert the Excel file into a .csv file. Click on the File button and save the document as a .csv, as shown on the screen. Remember where you've saved the .csv file, because our next step will be to close down Excel and to start up the RCA2Go software. Click on the RCM button to go to the RCM PMO screen. Click on the Tree button to go to the PMO tree. You'll see the Library panel appear on the left of the tree screen. At the bottom of the Library panel there's the Import CSV button. Click on the Import CSV button. The Import CSV dialog box appears. Click on the Browse button and find the .csv file that you created earlier with the PMO data. Open the file and then click on the Import button. You'll see that the CSV import function has imported all of the data we found before in the PMO investigation into the library. The first record says on-off switch burns out. Well, that's really a failure mode, so I'm clicking on the tree to create the functional failure box, and now I'm clicking on the record in the library, which automatically brings it out and attaches it to the box which I had highlighted. We see it as a failure mode, which encourages us to fill in what the functional failure is. It fails to heat. Now let's look in the library. The first two records are temperature too high and temperature too low. Those are really functional failures. So what I've done now is created a function box. You see it's highlighted in red, and now I'm clicking on the first record, temperature too low, which automatically transfers and attaches to the highlighted function box. What is the function? Well, it's to maintain the coffee between 50 degrees C and 60 degrees C, so we can put that in the function box. My next record in the library is temperature too low. When I click on that, it will attach to the function box because the function box is highlighted with a red line around it. Now I'm hitting the refresh button to reset the screen. The first record in the library says that sometimes the percolator does not operate before the owner wakes. This is a functional failure, so let's create a function box. You see that it's highlighted with a red line, so that when we click on the record in the library, it will attach to the function box. We can add the details of the function. The percolator can be set to operate at a certain time. Looking back at the library, the next item is it can fail to deliver 6 cups of coffee. This is related to the top branch in our tree. Again, it's a functional failure, so click on the function box. It highlights with a red line, click on it and attaches to the function box. Refresh to reset the screen. In this way you can build up the RCM PMO tree by selecting items from the library. It may be in the library there are duplicates or items that you don't want. To get rid of them, just click on the red X button. So in this way we can build up the cause tree. You'll see that on some boxes there are red and blue symbols. These indicate that we've already added evidence and detail during the PMO gathering exercise. Click on the red or blue button and you'll see the evidence that we gathered earlier. You can add more evidence by clicking on the Add Evidence button. The field for adding the data is shown at the bottom of the screen to give more space on the screen for the RCM PMO tree. You can see that I'm typing in work order system shows 3 failures per year. This gives us an idea of the magnitude of the problem. The source of the evidence, well, it's from the computerized maintenance management system. So the reliability of evidence is high because it's well documented. Another essential piece of information is how critical is the failure. So let's look at this failure mode and click the criticality button, and let's type in that there is no hazard and there is no financial loss. So the criticality is really quite low. So let's say it's 1 out of a scale of 0 to 9. You'll see that the grey button has appeared to indicate using the colour how critical the failure is. Let's close the library to give ourselves more space on the screen. Now let's look at what sort of countermeasure might be appropriate for this particular failure mode where the on-off switch burns out. We can click on the decision button, which will bring up the decision tree provided to us by Nolan and Heap, the developers of the RCM process. Now let's work through the questions that the decision tree gives us. Is the occurrence of a failure evident to the operating crew during performance of normal duties? Well, the answer is yes. The percolator won't start if the switch is burnt out. Does this failure cause a loss of function or secondary damage that could have a direct adverse effect on operating safety? Well, the criticality analysis told us that there is no hazard associated with this failure mode. So, does the failure have a direct adverse effect on operational capability? Well, the answer is yes. So let's click on the Yes button. Now let's work through the operational consequences economic decision tree. First question, is an on-condition task to detect potential failures both applicable and effective? It may be possible to design such a task, but the cost of doing it will be greater than the loss that we suffer. So the answer is no. And in the same way, the cost of doing a rework task is greater than any financial benefit. With the discard task, there's no evidence that replacing the switch on a regular basis will improve the performance. So the answer is still no. So our answer overall is no scheduled maintenance should be done against this particular failure mode. To record that, we can go in and put in NSM in the countermeasure box just to record our decision process. You will see that the countermeasure that we've chosen really depends on our understanding of the failure mode. It's essential that we have a really clear understanding of the failure mode, and if we don't, then it would be worthwhile doing an RCA, a root cause analysis exercise on the failure mode. In any case, this concludes our presentation on PMO and how to use this software as a framework to record your ideas. I hope it's been helpful, and good luck with improving your maintenance practices.